Hey YouTube, Ed here from Jack of All Trades, and welcome to another video. So today what we're going to do is we are going to fix my 4.5-inch Harbor Freight angle grinder. So let's get right into this video. And welcome back. So yes, what I've got is I've got a 4.5-inch Chicago Electric angle grinder. Now I've typically had pretty good luck with these grinders. They last a pretty good long time for regular home duty use. If you're using them in a fabrication or industrial setting, you're probably not going to get them to last very long, but I've had very good luck with these grinders, and this one is not currently working, so we're going to go ahead and fix it. But before we do that, if you're liking these kind of videos and you're liking this kind of subject, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down below. Give me those comments. I love interacting with you guys on the comments, and that's just really the only way I ever ask you for support. So what's wrong with this grinder? So what happens with this grinder is when I turn it on, the grinder will run and it'll spin the disc, but if I put any kind of pressure or load on the disc will actually stop. The grinder will maintain speed, but the disc will stop. So I have a little screwdriver here, and I'm just going to stick it in the fin here just so you can see, and the grinder is obviously unplugged. I'm not plugged in. So I've stopped the motor, and you can see I could spin the disc. And very easily. It's not at all engaging. So there's something in the gearbox here that is not engaging. So let's go ahead and let's take this apart. Let's see what the issue is, and then let's fix it. All right, so like I said, I can take this little screwdriver here and I can just stick it in the fins, the cooling fins of the motor, just to stop it. And if I turn the disc, you can see that the cooling fins in the motor are obviously not turning. So either the gear is stripped out in the gearbox or there's something wrong with this. I fully suspect that it's not that complicated. So quite obviously, the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take the grinding wheel off. I've got a flapper disc on this one, but whatever yours is equipped with, this is quite obviously going to have to come off. And all the spacers and lock nuts are going to have to come off. Then you're going to have to take the guard off. It's nothing more than a Phillips head screwdriver. Very, very simple to do. Don't even have to take the screws out completely. You just need to loosen them up. Go ahead and take that off. And again, with a Phillips head screwdriver, we just got to go ahead and remove these 4 screws and access the gearbox. Okay, now once you have those 4 screws off, we just have to very simply lift this cover off. And what you're going to get here is you're going to see 2 gears. This is the ring gear. And that is the pinion gear right there. And right there you can see the nut on the top of that pinion gear is not fully seated. You can see the lock washer is not compressed, and that pinion gear is absolutely slipping on the shaft. And you can see as I turn the pinion gear that the cooling fan is not moving. So what we need to do is we need to tighten that nut up and compress that lock washer down on top of that pinion gear. All right, so you're going to need to get yourself a 10mm wrench and, again, a screwdriver. Just stick it in the fins of the fan there. Now that fan is plastic, so if you really get to wrenching on that, you will break the blades on it, so be very, very careful. And then just take your 10mm wrench here and snug up the nut on that pinion gear. Okay, that's about as tight as I dare do it with these fan blades. I don't want to over torque, and yet at the same time, now I can see that it's all locked together. When I spin the pinion gear, the fan is obviously spinning, and now the grinder should work correctly. I would also say that while you're in here, go ahead and just redistribute some of that grease just a little bit on top of that pinion so you can get some good lubrication back on that pinion gear. I would just redistribute the grease a little bit. It'll distribute itself around. Don't take any grease out. Make sure you leave it all in the case as much as possible. Without grease, that gear will fail way prematurely, and you don't want to do that. Then it's time to just reinstall the cover with the ring gear on it. Now the front of the grinder is curved and the cover is matching to it, and it is only going to go on one way. So make sure that you orient it correctly, and then go ahead and reinstall all of the screws. Again, being careful to not strip the screws out as you reinstall them. Again, referring you to the fact that Harbor Freight is not using the highest quality hardware when putting these things together. Now, when you put them together, I would suggest that you don't tighten all the screws down until you get them good and started and in the threads. Don't cross thread them. Again, not the highest quality threading on these things. Just make sure you get everything put in there nice and straight. It should go in very easy with very little effort. And once you've got them all started, then you can go ahead and torque them all back down again. There is allowances on these screws to use a flat tip screwdriver, which will give you a little bit of better biting surface if you do happen to strip out the Phillips head screws. So go ahead and use a good flat tip, again, with a nice sharp bit. And I'm going to eventually have to replace that screw because I'm taking it on and off too many times. It's going to eventually fail on me here. So go ahead and make sure I've got all the screws torqued. Now we just have to reinstall the guard. I know a lot of you might have this guard come up missing over the course of time. Let me give you a little advice. Don't throw these guards away. They're on here for a reason. They do a really good job of directing the sparks away from you and away from your face and away from places that you don't want them to be when you're using these grinders. Please keep these guards in place. Go ahead and put the spacer ring back on. Reinstall the disc. Reinstall the jam nut. And there you have it. The grinder is fixed. Now, what was the point of this video? The point of this video was twofold. One, don't be afraid to put a screwdriver to these things. If you do have something that fails or stops working for whatever reason, there's for $30, which is about what you pay for these grinders, there's nothing wrong with putting a screwdriver to them, taking them apart, and seeing if you can identify what the problem is. Two, just to show you how to fix this if your grinder happens to be exhibiting the same symptoms as mine was. This happens to be the grinder that I used to sharpen my lawnmower blades with my All-American lawnmower blade sharpener. I was sharpening blades and it started spinning, and I needed to get it fixed because I needed to sharpen lawnmower blades. So don't be afraid to put a screwdriver to these things, take them apart, see what's wrong. Now, if you're going to be a little more adventurous and take the side cover off to look at the switch or maybe do a repair in there, just understand what you're getting into, and you know what? If you screw it up, nothing ventured, nothing gained. Not really a big loss. You just go buy another grinder. A few safety things. Always make sure that you unplug the grinder before you do any maintenance on these whatsoever. That's to include changing out the discs. Always unplug the grinder before you put your fingers in your hands near the business end or the working end of these grinders. You just don't want to have any mishaps. I'm here to tell you, these things will remove skin really fast. They will pick up clothing really fast. Don't modify these switches, because these switches are designed very specifically where if you let them go, the grinder will stop and they will have less of a chance of causing you serious injury. So just don't make any modifications to this thing that are unnecessary. So therein lies the end of this video. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it informative. I hope it helps somebody out there to fix a grinder that might be having the same symptoms or issues that mine is. Now, if you're liking this kind of content and you're liking these kind of videos, please make sure you hit the like and subscribe button down below. Ring that notification bell so you get notified of upcoming videos, and hit me with those comments. I really do enjoy interacting with all you folks through the comment section. It's a lot of fun, and I really get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Just keep them clean, keep them respectful, and we'll have a good time doing this. With that, this is Ed from Jack of All Trades. As always, thank you for stopping by. Thank you to my longtime subscribers. Thank you to all the people who watch my videos. It's the greatest support that you can possibly give me, and we will see you on the next video.